ban the lot. I'm talking about cameras. I'm talking about tablets. I'm talking about phones. Wedding guests using devices on your wedding day. The big question here is to ban or not to ban. So in this day and age, we all own some sort of device that can take a photograph, take a video. I'm talking everything from your phone to your tablet to your camera. It's even becoming common that people are bringing their own drones to weddings. So we all use devices day in, day out, usually 24 hours a day. You get a good meal, you take a picture of it, you post it on social media. It's becoming a habit. So can you imagine putting people with these type of devices in a wedding situation? The frenzy of I have to take a picture, I have to take a video becomes accelerated and people just get a bit excited. So how do you imagine your wedding day? And when I say your wedding day, I'm more thinking about the actual ceremony. When you are walking down the aisle towards your partner, do you imagine a sea of devices capturing that moment? And you might be okay with this, and this might be something that doesn't bother you, or you would prefer for people to actually just put them down for a few minutes and actually see the expression and joy on people's faces as you do that walk up the aisle to your partner. It's a big moment. So we're going to talk about everything from the extreme of banning everything throughout the day to a more laid back way of looking at it and just letting them do what they like. So the first of the four that we've seen is the most extreme. This is the all-out ban. And when I say all-out ban, I mean all day long, put your devices away. You are not allowed to take a picture of anything. I'm not just talking about taking a picture of the bride, of the groom, of the bridal party. I'm talking about no details, nothing of the ceremony, nothing of the banqueting room, the plate of food that you actually get to eat. You're not going to photograph a single thing on the wedding day. Think about this. This is kind of like celebrity status where somebody owns the copyright to this day and you're actually pretty much signing a contract to say you're not going to use your device for the entire day. Think about this. How are you going to police this on the wedding day? Are you going to give certain members of your family or guests the job to actually go around and if they see someone using their phone to take a picture, to ask them to put it away, delete the picture they've taken? How much of a distraction is this going to be on your wedding day? So you've decided you're having this all-out ban, and especially in the ceremony will be a big no-no. You're about to walk up the aisle towards your partner. Your partner is about to turn and look to see you for the first time and someone takes a phone out. Is this going to annoy you to the fact that that's all you remember from your walk up the aisle? So first of all, how are you going to police it? Second of all, how is this going to affect your mood on the wedding day? This is one that's probably left alone if you're just having a wedding day for you, your guests, your family. Everyone has their own reasons for things, but this is the extreme, and the extreme could be something that causes more heartache than needed on the actual wedding day. So unplugged ceremonies, as they're commonly known, are media devices throughout the time your ceremony's on. This is something that we see a lot more and it's a lot more popular. You're simply asking your guests for the time the ceremony is on to put away their devices. It's only a small section of the day, so you're not going to annoy the guests to the point of don't use them all day long. It's only a small section. So how do you imagine your wedding ceremony, and especially that walk up the aisle? So you are with a family member and you're walking down the aisle. Do you imagine the aisle being completely clear of guests? Everyone's in their seats. You can see their faces and they're actually in the moment with you. Your partner turns and looks and all they see is you walking down the aisle towards them, a nice clear aisle, and you're the only one that they are focusing on. If you don't have a media ban or an unplugged ceremony, there is a chance that the guests will have phones up in front of their faces and they're actually watching this moment through their devices. They will more than likely, at least a few of them, step out into the aisle. So then they're kind of creating a little bit of a blockage on the aisle. they're at least going to put their hands out into the aisle, and you've got phones lined up along the aisle. You're going to have Uncle Bob. He could still be shooting on film, but he's decided that this is a great moment to capture, and he's going to go up the top, and he's going to stand next to a videographer or photographer that you might have hired to capture this moment, and he's going to be in an angle. He's also going to be all you see as you walk up the aisle towards your partner. If you have hired a photographer or a videographer, they're going to be there to capture this moment. They're very good at capturing this moment. This is what you're paying them to be there for. If guests do get in the way and you haven't had an unplug ceremony, don't stress about it. They're professionals, they're used to it. But in an ideal world, those photographs that you see on social media, online, of the bride or the groom walking towards their partner in a clear aisle, everybody's looking, devices are put away, and this is the ideal situation for the actual walk up the aisle. Throughout the ceremony, when things happen, it might be a little bit funny, it might be a little bit emotional, if people are having a bit of a tear or a bit of a laugh. If the photographer and videographer are there, it would be lovely for them to actually capture the guests' emotions as to what's happening in the ceremony, rather than the guests' emotions behind their device. So an unplug ceremony is definitely something that you should look into and should consider on the wedding day. Next up, social media ban. This is when you allow your guests to use their devices as normal, but you're asking them not to post on social media. This can be a ban for 24 hours. It can be a ban for a week. You decide the time frame you don't want your guests to post for. You might decide that they never get to post online. So throughout the day, they can behave as normal. They can use the devices, take their pictures. But as you're walking up the aisle, for example, nobody is streaming live on Instagram or they're Snapchatting. So before your partner actually gets to turn and look to see what you look like, there's not an image of you online. And the same throughout the day, that they're not posting details of your wedding day before you get to. And this brings me to a nice thing about having a social media ban. You get to choose the first image that represents your wedding day. You're the first person to post a picture of your wedding day on any social media platform. That way, when you wake up the next morning and you turn on your Facebook page or your Instagram page or whatever your favorite social media platform is, it isn't flooded with pictures of yesterday, and you get to choose what you want to go up first. Effectively, you're asking your guest to just be a little bit more courteous on the day. They can act as normal, they can use their devices, but they just don't need to post on social media in the moment. And that race to be the first person, we all do it, we're all guilty of it, to post up on social media so that you get to be the one that shares somebody else's wedding day. Lastly, let them feed their addiction. You really don't care what they do. They can use their devices, they can post on social media. You're completely horizontal about the whole situation. Putting no restrictions on guests means that guests will probably get up to anything. They will step out into the aisle when you're walking up the aisle, but if you're happy to share the aisle, then let them. They'll probably stand at the top of the room next to the photographer, the videographer. They will post on social media, and I'm talking about live feeds from their seats in the ceremony. But some people are just okay with this, and if you're one of those people that you're fine with the guests doing whatever they want, then this is the option for you. But the guests, you do want them to behave in a certain manner, but everyone has their own personality, everyone has their own character, and you just can't foresee what they'll get up to. So whatever you decide to do, the key thing is to communicate this to your guests. You can get out ahead of yourself and put something in the invitation, a nice little funny rhyme, or a more kind of, this is going to be a strict rule on the day. On the day itself, you can put up a sign at the back of the room that you're actually getting married in. You can put it in a booklet if you're doing a booklet for the ceremony. Or the most effective one that I've seen would be to actually get someone to announce it. It could be anyone from the person who is performing the ceremony to one of your groomsmen to a member of your family. Someone just to get up before, and this is actually a very, very important thing. This is before you walk down the aisle, not after you walk down the aisle. I've also seen this. The bride has walked down the aisle, they've stepped out into the aisle, everyone's taken their photo, and then someone announces, can everyone not take a photograph throughout the ceremony? It's a little bit too late. So remember, you do it before the ceremony starts. So in this way, it's communicated to guests. Now, you've communicated it, you've made your decision as to what type of day you're having. Let's be honest, we're all human, and no matter how much you communicate to people, there will be that one person, if not two, who just doesn't listen and they're just going to do their own thing. Don't let this bother you. You have communicated what you want. You've got the majority of people listening. The minority, forget about the minority. Let it go. Do not let it bother you. But you communicate these things where you can. So go discuss it with your partner. See what suits your personality, what will fit in with your day. But please don't stress out about it. The professionals you hire on the day, photographers, videographers, they're used to this. This is every wedding they do. There's always going to be that one guest. They will adjust the situations. They will even preempt situations where they can. So don't let this completely take over your thinking of, especially the ceremony part of the day. Things will happen. You're going to put things in place to try and control a certain amount, but please, 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 please don't let it bother you too much. People will beat to their own drum. They have their own ways of doing things, and some people just don't listen. But don't let it bother you. Enjoy your wedding day. So this is a very opinionated topic, and everyone's going to have something to say about this. Do you think that having an all-out ban is just completely unacceptable? Asking your guests to behave in a certain way throughout the day is just overkill. It's too much. Or asking people just to put their devices away for an unplugged ceremony. Do you think this is too much? Asking people to behave in a certain way for a period of the day? Or do you think that people thinking it's okay to use their devices or it's okay to step out into the aisle, it's ridiculous, the thought of it? Or asking people not to post on social media. It's their own social media platform, telling them they can't use it on your wedding day. Do you think this is unacceptable? Or do you think it's unacceptable for people thinking it's okay to share your wedding day with the world without your permission? Or just letting them feed their addiction? Is this ridiculous? Allowing people to behave in whatever way they want on their wedding day. Are you just setting yourself up for situations you just don't want to deal with? Let us know. Give your opinions below. Comment on this subject. I think I'm actually going to let you vote. I'm going to put a poll up. What do you think out of the 4 things we've talked about today is the best option for you? What is your opinion on this subject? Remember to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content of these videos. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be someone who's getting married, you could be part of a bridal party, or you could just be really interested in the wedding industry. We're going to cover a broad selection of topics. You will find something for you on this channel. Thank you for watching the video today. Do keep an eye out for our next video. We'll be talking more hot topics, more favourite topics, everything weddings.